Accounts of the English colony. This is a diary entry by Governor Phillip, Arthur Phillip. So he wrote this on the 16th of March, 1787. The squadron destined to carry into execution the above design began to assemble at its appointed rendezvous, the Mother Bank, within the Isle of Wight, about the 16th of March, 1787. So they got together and they began to prepare for their journey at the Isle of Wight. This small fleet consisted of the following ships: His Majesty's frigate Sirius, Captain John Hunter, and His Majesty's armed tender supply, commanded by Lieutenant H.L. Bull. 3 storeships, the Golden Grove, Fishburne, and Borrowdale, for carrying provisions and stores for 2 years. Provisions and stores, these are things like food, tobacco, things that convicts and guards and sailors need to live, and also things to start a new colony. And that stuff will last them for 2 whole years. Those ships included things, including instruments of husbandry. So husbandry is, breeding horses and stuff like that, and sheep. So if you need more sheep, these things can help you breed more sheep or horses. Clothing for the troops and convicts, and other necessaries. And lastly, 6 transports. The Scarborough, the Lady Penrhyn from Portsmouth, the Friendship and Charlotte from Plymouth, the Princess Wales, and the Alexander from Woolwich. These were to carry the convicts, with a detachment of marines in each. So that means these ships have a small crew, detachment of marines, small crew of marines, and marines is another word for soldiers or guards. Proportion to the nature of the service. This means, as many as they need to get the job done. The largest where resistance was the most to be expected, namely in those ships which carried the greatest number of male convicts. So they had more marines with the male convicts because they probably were a bit more risky. They might fight and rebel and stuff like that. Altogether, they formed a little squadron of 11 sail, 11 ships. When the fleet was at length prepared for sailing, the complement of convicts and marines on board the transports was thus arranged. The Friendship carried a captain and 44 marines, subalterns and privates, with 77 male and 20 female convicts. The Charlotte, a captain and 43 men, with 88 male and 20 female convicts. In the Alexander were 2 lieutenants and 35 marines, with 213 convicts, all male. So on the Alexander, they had the most marines, the most soldiers, because they had 213 convicts and they were all male. So they're probably dangerous convicts. In the Scarborough, a captain and 33 marines, with male convicts only, 208 in number. So 208, and the Alexander had 213 male convicts. So the Scarborough also has a lot of male convicts and a lot of guards, a lot of marines. The Prince of Wales transport had 2 lieutenants and 30 marines, with 100 convicts, all female. 100. They write differently back then. These days you would write 800. And the Lady Penrhyn, a captain, 2 lieutenants, and only 3 privates, with 102 female convicts. 10 marines of different denominations were also sent as supernumeraries. Tough word, that one. Were also sent as supernumeraries on board the Sirius. That's a tough word. I'm not sure what that word means. I could look it up and let you know next time. The whole complement of marines, including officers, amounted to 212. So 212 marines and officers. Besides which, 28 women, wives of marines, carrying with them 17 children, were permitted to accompany their husbands. So the guards, the Marines, could bring their wives and their children. The number of convicts was 788, of whom 558 were men. So that's the majority of the convicts were men. 2, however, on board the Alexander, received a full pardon before the departure of the fleet and consequently remained in England. So 2 convicts received a full pardon. That means they were forgiven of their crimes and they were free. So they could stay in England because they didn't need to, they weren't prisoners anymore. They could stay in England and be free. So you'll notice some of this is hard to understand. They wrote quite differently back in the 1700s. Even I struggled to understand some of it. So try your best, answer the questions, and good luck.